If you've ever been on a site that's had data spread across multiple pages, so like 1, 2, and 3, that's called pagination, and it's a way to split large data sets up so that it's 1, easier to sift through for our users, and 2, quicker to load for us inside of our database. So it's a win-win for both parties. Now, pagination can be a pain to do, but with Lucid and AdonisJS, it's a breeze. So off of our query builder, we can easily do it by just chaining our paginate method. And it accepts 2 different arguments: the current page of the data that we're loading, so we can do 1 to get the very first page, as well as the number of results that we want to load per page. So we could do something like 12 there to load 12 different challenges per page that we have. The page number starts at 1 in increments from there. So if we want to load in page 2, it would go to 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth for as long as we have data to load for. Though the amount that we want to load per page may be static, in most cases, these are fluid numbers and often stored within the URL's query string. This allows the user to specify which page of data they're after, and it also allows them to specify the number of pages that they would like to see per page. Some people like to view more results per page and others fewer. As we've seen previously, we could grab this off of our query string by using the request input method, and I'm reaching for something like page to get the page number, defaulting it to 1 if it's not there. And then we would just dynamically pass that into our paginate call to get the page that the user is specifically after. But as we learned several lessons ago, we want to be defensive when accepting in user data. So for example, they could be requesting -1 here within the query string, and that would not work here with our paginate method because we don't have negative pages. So what we want to do instead is utilize a validator here for this. And we can go ahead and jump into our challenge validator to add this in. So we already have one for our store and edit. Above this, we can add one specific to our index. So we'll do const challenge index validator equals find create, and then we'll have one property for our page because we've also previously learned that the query string data is merged into our body when passed into our requests validate method, giving us direct access to that within our validator here. And we can specify that that should be a number that is positive. We could make this optional and then assign it a default value inside of our controller, or we can go ahead and try to parse the value directly within our validator here and set its default value that way. So we could do value or 1 if it's not provided. Parse is a lower level method within our validator that allows us to take the raw value that the user has provided and parse it to our heart's content, returning back the value that we want to utilize for the overall validator that we're working with here. So we're taking in the value that the user has provided, and if they have not provided 1, then we're defaulting it to 1 here directly. And the red squiggly should just be for formatting, and we're going to go ahead and ignore it here for the time being because we also need to add in our per page, which is also of type number. And we do the same thing here. So we can parse it. If the user has provided a value, we'll go ahead and use it. Otherwise, we'll default that to whatever page number we would like to be default. So I'll go ahead and set it to 12 there. Then we can also validate that the value is inside of a range of 12 to say 100. And by limiting it to a range, we're ensuring that our user is not going to try and request too many records on a single page, which can result in putting too much stress on our database and our server as a whole. Say, for example, if a user tried to request 100,000 records. Okay, we'll save that. That should fix our formatting woes. And then we can jump back into our challenges controller and make use of this validator. So I've already plucked out my request here from the HTTP context. So we can do const, and then we can extract out the page and per page from our await request validate using, and then we can import our challenge index validator to use that. Right now, the red squiggly here is just because the destructored elements are unused. So let's make use of them. We want page to be the page number that we're after instead of our paginate. And then we want per page to be the number per page that we're after instead of our paginate. Now, it's also a good idea anytime that you're doing pagination to sort your results to ensure that you're getting back consistent and reliable pages whenever you're transitioning from, say, 1 to 2, as results may vary if unsorted. Similar to our first or fail method, paginate is a terminating method off of our query builder, which changes the result that we're getting back. We're now getting back a model paginator contract rather than the model query builder contract. So once we've called paginate, we can't build off of our query builder anymore. So if we do want to order, that is one instance where we need to put it before our pagination. So we'll do order by, and we'll just go ahead and order by the text of our challenge just to keep things simple. Okay, now with that saved, we can jump back into our browser. Let's go ahead and give it a refresh. Okay, everything should now be ordered by name, and we're getting back 12 results for this first page of data. Within our URL bar now, we can add in page equals 2 to get back the second page of data, switching us from B-based alphabetical results to now we're on H to R. And if we now switch to page 3, we get back no challenges available. So we only have 2 pages worth of data there. Even though we created 50 different challenges within our dev seeder, within our query, we are limiting those to just those that have a creator with a profile that's public. If we were to get rid of that, give this a save, jump back into our browser and refresh page 3, now we're getting back results because we have more data to show. We'll go ahead and put that query back into play. And what we can now also do is switch to say page 1 and add in a per page. 12 is our default, so if we do 24 here, the number of results that we're getting back for this particular page is going to be double what it was originally. So now we're getting back the exact same page 1 and page 2 results that we had previously whenever we were doing 12 per page in a single page with 24. If we do page 2 with 24, we're going to get back the results that we had previously had on page 3, which is no results at all. Now, as we saw previously, whenever we're getting back the results of our paginated query, the type is of model paginator contract. The model paginator is a class that extends the simple paginator that extends array as a whole, meaning that this is still an iterable result, hence why the loop to display the challenges within our page isn't broken whenever we try to do so. However, it also contains properties and methods to inform and help us work with our paginator too. So for example, if we were to do list dot, we have array-based methods still available here, like find index, every, entries, flat map, all of that fun stuff. But we also have some additional properties here specific to the model paginator as well, like whether or not we have more pages of data, if it has a total number of results, whether or not the result set's empty, what the last page is, how many we've requested per page. There should be an overall total right here as well. And then there's some utility methods added in as well that we'll take a look at here in a second. So for example, if we wanted to, we could jump back down into our let's see, our index page. Underneath our available points, we could add in an additional div with the total challenges and then utilize our challenges total count off of that model paginator to directly display the total number of challenges that we have available to query. So we have 21 total, meaning that if we were to do a per page of 21, switch back to page 1, this is all of the challenges that we have. What we next need to do though is allow our users to easily traverse from page to page rather than manually mutating the URL as we have thus far. So at the bottom of our list, what we want to do is add next and previous buttons to do exactly so. So underneath our challenge grid, we'll add in an additional div. And I'm just going to work directly here in styles to keep us flowing. So we'll do flex with a gap of 0.25, and then we'll do an @if to say if the challenges dot current page, the current page that is being rendered from our paginated list, is greater than 1. So if we're beyond the first page of data, then we'll end our if. And inside of there, do an anchor with an href pointing to our challenges dot, and there's a utility method off of our model paginator called get previous page URL, which will return a URL with the page query string added in for the previous page number from the current page. So if we're on page 2, this get previous page URL would point us back to page 1. Then for the text, we can just do something simple like prev. There is a similar set of properties and methods available for the next page as well. So we can do has more pages to discern if there's pages beyond the current page that we're on that the user can render. So if we're on page 2, this would say, yes, we have a page 3 to show. And if that is true, then we can go ahead and get the next page's URL using get next page URL. This does similar as get previous page URL. If we're on page 2 and we have a page 3, it will return back a URL with the page set to 3 for us. So rather than having prev as our text, this would then be next. So with what we have here, if we're on page 1, we won't see our previous link at all because our current page will be 1. And if we're on the last page, then we won't see our next link at all because we don't have more pages. So with that saved, let's jump back into our browser and give it a look. So we're on page 1 since we don't have any page specified within our URL. So if we jump down to this next button that we have right down here, in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see that this is just now doing slash with a query string of page equals 2. But what we want instead is slash challenges with a query string of page 2, because we want our user to stay on this challenges page and not go back to our home page as they would currently if they were to click on that link. So to do this, we can jump back into our controller. Again, I'm going to hit Command P as well as P 2 more times to jump into my challenges controller. And then we'll just let go of Command to do that. Within here, before we pass this data into our page to be rendered, we can use the base URL utility method off of our model paginator result. So base URL to pass in that base URL that will be used for those URL-based helper methods like our get next and get prev page URLs that we're using for our links. Then we can use the URL for route method to say that we want to get the URL for our challenges index page, just like so. That will now point us to /challenges instead of the home page. So if we give that a save, jump back into our browser, give it a refresh, and if we take a look at our next now, we'll see that that's now properly pointed to /challenges page 2 rather than our home page. And now, since we have 2 pages worth of data, we have a previous button, but not a next button, allowing us to go back to page 1. However, if we were to switch the number of results that we're getting per page, and I'm going to make this very obvious, so we'll switch it to 13 instead of 12. So we should have a dangling challenge here in our list. What we also need to account for with our pagination is the number per page that the user has, because if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner, it's still just /challenges with a page of 2, not knowing that it needs to keep our per page, which is dropped if we were to click that link. So now we have our default per page rather than stickying that 13 that the user wants. So to add that in, we can go ahead and do list dot and then use the query string method to specify the query strings that should be added onto these URLs that are generated for our paginator. So we can pass in our page and per page there to make that persistent. With that saved, jump back into our browser, give it a refresh. If we take a look at our next now, it now properly has both the page 2 as well as per page sticky to 13. So if we give that a click, now we have our dangling results still. All right, so while we're still in our challenges controller, if we were to scroll back up to the top here, our challenges in-memory array is no longer used. So we can go ahead and get rid of that altogether. And we can change the name of our list to challenges to be a little bit more descriptive of what it is that we're using here. You could also call this Paginator if you wished as well. But since we're calling this challenges inside of our page, we'll go ahead and keep it challenges here too. Furthermore, let's give ourselves all of our result sets back so that we have more data to work with by getting rid of our where has. And on this page, I don't think we're going to need to utilize the created by in any way. So we can get rid of that too to simplify our query even further. Now that we have more than 2 pages worth of data, since we've gotten rid of our where has, it might be better to show, in addition to our next and previous buttons, a list of the pages that we have available as well, so that the user can jump straight to page 2 from page 1 if they wished. To do that, we'll jump back into our page. So I'm going to hit Command P, and we'll go back into our index page there. And in between our previous and next buttons, we can now do @each to loop over each anchor, and we can get a list of pages to serve as our anchors via our challenges paginator get URLs for range method. This get URLs for range is going to return back both the URL that we can use as our href, as well as the actual page that that URL represents, making it perfect for offering a list of pages. And it accepts 2 arguments: the start, which we can start at 1, and the end. So we can do challenges.lastPage if we want to offer a link for each page that we have available for our challenges. Then of course we want to end our each there as well. So our anchor here is going to be an object with a URL and page as its property. So we can add an anchor element with an href set to our anchor URL and then render out the anchors page, just like so. And if we give that a save and jump back into our browser, we should now see 1, 2, 3, and 4 in addition to our next button. So if we hit next now, we should now be on page 2, offering us the addition of our previous button, but still we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, with 2 being the active page. We can also jump directly to page 4, and then from page 4, we can jump directly back to page 1, just like so. Noting that each is still stickying our preferred per page of 13 rather than the default of 12 as well. An additional property that we have on our anchor is whether or not the current anchor that we're looping over is the active anchor for the paginator. So we can utilize that within our anchor elements style to give it a little bit of a different look. So we could do style, color, and then use a ternary in here to say if our anchor is active, which will be true if the anchor that we're looping over is the current page the user's on, and use that to set the color to something like blue, and then just default to null to omit the color altogether. So with that set, now the active page, whatever current page we're on, will be blue instead of the dark gray like all of the others. So if we were to switch to page 2, now 2 will be blue and all of the others will be gray. Great. So one last thing to fix here before we move on. You might have noticed that as we move from page to page, the total number of points available is changing. So like on page 2 here, we have 703. But if we were to go back to page 1, we have 619. So it's not actually our total number of points available, but it's the total number available on the particular page that we're looking at. That's because we're aggregating this in the render based on the current page of data that we have loaded. So instead, what we want to do is move this so that it is aggregating inside of a query, taking all of our challenges into account rather than inside of this partial that we have. So we'll jump back into our challenges controller. And since we want just one count for all of our challenges rather than a count per challenge, we're going to want to do this as a separate query. So we can do const total points equals await, use our challenge model to query the sum of the challenges points column. We'll then call that sum our total, and then we want to get back the first, and then we can fail if we aren't able to find any results, which it always will because it will just default to 0 for the sum if we don't have any challenges. Then we can add in our total points to our render state, just like so that it is readily available on our page. Couple of things to note here though. We're using sum on the query builder to sum all rows points column into a single value and getting that back as total. Despite us calling it total, we're still getting back an actual challenge model instance because we're using the challenges query builder here. So this total is actually going to be on our total points dot extras dot, and then we called it total from there. If we'd rather just get that raw value instead of the model instance, this is one example where we can switch to the database query builder instead of the model query builder. So I'll comment this out here for the moment so that we can compare, but to use the database query builder, what we'll do here is define our total points variable there again, and then we'll await, and we'll use DB from AdonisJS Lucid Services DB to get the actual database service there. Remember, the database query builder is a more low-level query builder that doesn't go through our models. So we need to specify the tables and the columns exactly as they're defined within our database. To target a particular table, we can use the from method to say that it should look at our challenges table. Then from there, we want to use the name of the column as is defined inside of our table, again, because we're not going through the model, which just happens to still be points. And then we can also give this an alias, which for this one, we'll call total points, because the difference between these two aliases is that whenever we're working with the model query builder, it's going to change what it's called off of our extras object. But whenever we're working with the database query builder, it's going to change the name of the property directly with the results that we get back. So if we go ahead and finish this off with our first or fail still, we should see that we get back total points of any. This is going to be a single result. So ultimately what we're going to have here is an object with a total points property inside of it. So to get the actual total points here, we can destructure it out of our result set. And now we'll have direct access to our sum instead of it being nested inside of a challenge model instance. All right, we can get rid of that, and we can get rid of that there as well, because all that's left now is to swap that into our page. And this also removes the need for us to have that logic to aggregate this inside of our page as well. So if we jump back into our index, we can get rid of this partial altogether. We're not going to need it anymore. We can just add in a simple div to say total points available, and then we can render out our total points. And since this is a number, we can also have it go ahead and format it by calling to local string. And our total points will be over 1,000. So all that this will do is add in a comma to make it a little bit more human readable there. Okay, so we can give that a save. And now we can jump back down into our partials and delete the available points partial from here. And it looks like I have two. I don't know how I did that, but we don't need either, I don't think. So we can go ahead and right click the challenge folder altogether and just delete it and move it to the trash. And then we can also do the same for this duplicate that I somehow got and move that to the trash as well. Okay, great. Just take a look at my server here, make sure it's still running okay. And we should be able to go ahead and jump back into our browser, refresh, and everything still looks like it's working a-okay. And the first thing that you'll notice now, our total points available is printed out in a human readable fashion. And it's now the overall total number of points despite the page that we're on. So if we go from page 1 to page 2, the total number of points is going to remain the same now. Fantastic. And it still looks like everything's rendering okay. So I don't think we needed that partial that I deleted anyway. So